In 1936, Egypt crowned a king who was barely old enough to shave. 17-year-old Farouk inherited the throne after the death of his father, King Fuad I. The young monarch was wildly popular at first. Egyptians saw him as handsome, charismatic, and a refreshing change from his father's stern rule. They called him the Boy King. But behind the charm was a darker story, one of excess, scandal, and even theft. Farouk loved luxury. He devoured fine food, collected fast cars, and filled his palaces with gold and jewels. Yet, despite being one of the richest men in the world, he had a peculiar obsession: stealing. It wasn't petty pickpocketing out of necessity, it was kleptomania. Farouk simply could not resist taking things that weren't his. One of the most infamous stories about him involves none other than Winston Churchill. During World War II, Churchill visited Cairo for high-level talks. The British Prime Minister was a guest at Farouk's palace. When the meeting ended, Churchill reportedly noticed his gold pocket watch was missing. The rumor spread quickly. Farouk had stolen it. Though some historians debate whether this particular incident happened, the tale perfectly captured the king's reputation. Because this was not a one-off story, Farouk's sticky fingers were legendary. He was said to steal from hotel rooms, guests, and even his own friends. At parties, he'd slip valuable items into his pockets. Sometimes jewels, sometimes cigarette cases, sometimes watches. One of his most bizarre thefts, a priceless pocket watch once owned by Napoleon Bonaparte, which he somehow acquired and added to his private collection. Farouk also broke into shops in Cairo, taking items without paying. One British diplomat remarked that nothing was safe when the king was around. But theft was only one part of his scandalous reign. Farouk was notorious for his appetite. He could eat multiple chickens in a single sitting, followed by mountains of desserts. His waistline ballooned as his people starved during World War II shortages. He threw lavish parties, while ordinary Egyptians queued for bread. At the gambling tables of Europe, he lost millions. To the public who once adored him, Farouk became a symbol of corruption, greed, and detachment from reality. And while he stuffed himself with food and riches, Egypt itself was simmering. Nationalism was on the rise. Many Egyptians resented Britain's lingering influence in their country. Instead of leading them, Farouk buried himself in excess. It all came to a breaking point in 1952. A group of army officers led by Gamal Abdel Nasser staged a coup. The revolution swept through Cairo, demanding the king's abdication. In July 1952, Farouk was forced to flee Egypt. Once the boy king of a nation's hopes, he now boarded a yacht into exile. Bloated, disgraced, and mocked. Even in exile, Farouk couldn't escape ridicule. Italians nicknamed him the King of the Belly. He lived in Rome, haunting casinos and restaurants, a faded monarch still clinging to extravagance. He died young, at only 45, reportedly collapsing after yet another enormous meal. Farouk's reign is remembered less for leadership and more for scandal. His kleptomania became a metaphor for his rule, grabbing everything he could while giving nothing back. The story of the watch he supposedly stole from Churchill, whether legend or fact, remains the perfect symbol of his life. A king who had everything, yet couldn't resist taking more. It may seem absurd today, a monarch pilfering from world leaders, sneaking jewels into his pockets like a petty thief. But it also serves as a cautionary tale. Power without restraint, wealth without responsibility, can turn even a king into a punchline. If you enjoyed this untold story of King Farouk, the boy king who rose in glory, fell in scandal, and may have even stolen from Winston Churchill, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Untold History in 5. We uncover the strangest, most shocking, and fascinating stories from the past, all in just 5 minutes. Hit the bell so you never miss an episode, and tell us in the comments, do you think Farouk really stole Churchill's watch, or is it just a legend? Thanks for watching.